Welcome back to Lofoten. If you missed the first video, please do go and have a look at it. Then come back here and join us on a walk up to a very popular viewpoint. One that we bypassed earlier in the day because we simply couldn't find a parking place in the nearby town of Rhine. However, mid-evening it was quieter, and although the mountain is only 448 metres high, the 1,560 steps are pretty hard work. So even if you don't recognise the mountain, you will probably recognise the view from the ridge, as it's really popular with photographers, and you'll often see photographs of it on calendars and books and on social media. But with cloudless skies, there wasn't much going on photographically here today. However, the panorama down to Rhine and over the islands was really spectacular, and it was worth taking a few images just to show you what it looks like, looking back over towards Norway and the far mountains of Lofoten. 'Andrew took some of the strain off my knees by carrying both sets of our camera gear, which was a huge help, as going down was almost as hard as going up. It was back down beside the road, quite late in the evening, that we encountered the most wonderful light, and I took an image that was going to be one of my favourites from the trip. However, once we lost that light, it was time to drive back, over the islands, and get some sleep before the next day's trip and yet another climb. So on day 5 the sun was shining once again, and we drove the fairly short distance to find the last parking space in the overflow car park at Auckland Beach. We hiked up over the pass towards Bulloch Beach, a fairly easy walk. You can drive under it through a tunnel and park on the other side, but the walk is much nicer. Down on the beach there's a rock feature called the Dragon's Eye, popular as it provides some foreground interest for photographers. Usually it's filled with water and seaweed, which gives it colour and lovely tones, but we were in the middle of a drought and it was really disappointing. It didn't stop us trying, but it wasn't a photo for the portfolio. And so it was time for some other beach activities. I went for a paddle, others decided to get properly wet. Ah, it's fine. This would be some cool B-roll. Andrew on a rock. Think you can make it to that one? Later on, back up on the pass, you can choose to divert off and climb a mountain called Manon. I sent the boys off to get to the summit, and I decided to just go as far as I could, as I had a heavy pack on and the knees were still complaining after all the activity of the previous days. The views, however, were still stunning. The final day took us back along the main road to a trailhead that led to a mountain called Ryton. It started out with blue skies, but on the hill the wind picked up, and by the time we reached the summit it was very unpleasant, with driving rain and strong gales. I did like this stitched panorama, taken looking out over the windswept Norwegian Sea, and the pool of light in the horizon gave it a sort of atmosphere we'd been missing all week. Kvalvika beach at the trailhead was a bit grey, so we headed back to the cottage and got packed for the long and what was a very hot drive back to Narvik. Then it was a case of reorganising our bags for the flight home the next day. Although we didn't video it all, we spent a fair bit of time exploring the harbour towns along the coast, and with the clear waters, colourful buildings and sunny skies, the reflections created some fascinating abstract shapes and patterns. A photographer called Mike Curry has pretty much made these style of photos his own, and he's really worth looking up. But I'm adding these in because they ended up being some of my favourite images from the whole trip.